Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and It Chapter 2 dropped a new trailer at Comic-Con, continuing this 2019 trend of horrible things happening at carnivals.
The trees are moving.
My boy!
Now, the scares come at us very fast in this It Chapter 2 trailer, and there are actually a lot of details to spot if you look closely, and because looking too closely at this kind of imagery is very traumatic for me, I have invited my good friend and horror movie expert Marina Mastros to come help me break it down. Hey, Marina!
Hi, Erik! Yep, we're going to go through this trailer shot by shot for all the hidden clues and connections to Stephen King's source material.
So this way you guys can know what to expect when It Chapter 2 makes us all piss our pants on September 6th. And yeah, spoiler warning, we are going to avoid spoiling the major book plot points, but you know, just a warning in case you want to go into this movie blind, might be a safe way to go in.
Just close your eyes.
Yes. All right, let's get started.
Something happens to you when you leave this town. The farther away, the hazier it all gets. But me, I never left. I remember all of it.
Okay, this trailer opens with some shots of the town of Derry and flashbacks to Bill and Beverly as kids, but now the voice of adults, Mike Hanlon, is explaining its return 27 years later. The other members of the Losers Club left the town and only Mike stayed behind as the Derry librarian.
Whereas the other losers have tried to move on from Derry and block out those painful childhood memories, Mike has clung to Derry as a sort of lighthouse keeper, with a librarian holding the keys to history, keepers of all knowledge, and actually very badass.
Yep, there's a shot of some missing person posters. Actually zoom and enhance on those. You can see Mackenzie something 5 years old and Daniel Gold. Now, Pennywise's return means kids in Derry are disappearing once again.
As with the past generation in the first film, the adults of Derry are under a kind of paralytic spell, probably from it itself, that causes them to refuse to actually do anything about this horrific pattern. In real life, if multiple freak tragedies happened in a small town every 27 years, Vice would be all over it and no one would live there.
Yeah, they'd probably just move to Hawkins, Indiana.
Oh no.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, we find ourselves in the Barrens, the sewer system that runs underneath Derry, and if you listen closely, you can hear Pennywise's instrumental sting as the water gushes in.
Hello.
Composer Benjamin Wallfish created a creepy sound for the character. It gives off a distorted quality, like the sound of a doll or a jack-in-the-box as it's dying or like trying to take you with it.
Now this moment looks like it could be Pennywise's resurrection from the Derry sewers, because next we see this drowning man. This is Adrian Mellon. This is a victim from Stephen King's novel. It was actually cut from the 90s miniseries. This is a gay man who was jumped and thrown off a bridge by youths. Mellon's boyfriend witnessed Pennywise feasting on him, but then he changed his story to the cops.
Pennywise appears little by little as Mellon surfaces, reaching out supposedly to help, just like he did with Georgie and his boat. Not that helpful. And interesting detail here, Mellon is being played by Xavier Dolan, a French-Canadian filmmaker who directed films like Mommy and It's Only the End of the World.
And as Mellon surfaces over and over, notice the splashes of red in the frame. Now those could be the thousands of red balloons, or 99 balloons. They appear under the bridge in the other shot of this moment. This is from the book. Pennywise unleashes balloons stamped with I Heart Derry, which is the nod to the I Heart Derry hat that Mellon wore with his boyfriend when the thugs beat him up. And we actually saw an I Heart Derry balloon in the sewers in the first movie, if you remember.
On to the next clip!
To the losers.
We made an oath.
Swear? If it isn't dead.
Okay, the trailer here toggles back and forth between the losers as adults and flashbacks to them as kids. Bev is now played by Jessica Chastain. Richie Tozier, the jokester of the group, is now played by Bill Hader, whom Finn Wolfhard actually named as his dream choice for its adult self.
Nice.
Mike Hanlon is played by Isaiah Mustafa. Bill Denborough is now played by James MacAvoy. And then the hypochondriac Eddie Kasprak is played by James Ransone. Ben Hinscombe is now Jay Ryan. Dream casting choices. I'm sure the child actors were thrilled to see how hunky many of them become. It's like they all yelled Shazam, which is another 2019 Carney film.
Ah, weird. Now, Stanley Uris is now played by Andy Bean in this film, and you'll notice that adult Stanley does not join the other losers in a lot of these shots. There's a reason for that, but we don't want to spoil it just yet. They reconnect in this Chinese restaurant where Mike reminds them of their blood oath to return to Derry and defeat the monster if it ever returned. Book readers will know this setting as another frightening moment, and attendees at Comic-Con got to see an extended version of it.
And we are. The F, come on.
Let's move on.
If it ever comes back, we'll come back to it.
We didn't stop it.
Pennywise.
The clown. We can't let it happen again.
Okay, here's a shot of Mike with police lights reflecting on his face, making me think that he might be a witness to the Adrian Mellon crime scene, and he might recognize it as Pennywise's return, leading to him calling the other losers to honor the oath.
And then we go to, of course, a nightmare carnival with a nightmare funhouse whose entrance is a nightmare clown mouth, probably reflecting the way Pennywise wants to literally consume them. And fun detail here, the swinging clown dummies are designed to specifically resemble the Tim Curry Pennywise from the 90s TV miniseries. The first film also featured a Tim Curry It Easter egg in the Richie clown doll room in the Neibolt house.
We see more of this not at all funhouse in the next clip.
Hello?
Hello. Please.
Okay, this Hall of Mirrors scene is another sequence that Comic-Con attendees got to see a fuller version of. James MacAvoy said that originally Bill wasn't gonna be in the scene at all, but director Andy Muschietti added him to give Bill's character another moment to show his lingering survivor's guilt. For him, Pennywise is manifested as less of a direct threat to him than the fear of living without a loved one, really the parental fear of losing a child. So in this scene, Pennywise tortures Bill by making him watch another kid being attacked.
The director uses an interesting lighting effect, having the lights flicker out like a now you see it, now you don't magic trick. First, we see Pennywise on the other side of the glass, then just the kid's reflection. And then on the third flicker, huge monster Pennywise with razor teeth! The director used this exact same trick with the projector slides in the first film, with the lights up, lights down, transition to reveal a suddenly giant monster Pennywise, which freaked me out.
Oh yeah. This whole idea of an adult having to watch helplessly could be a version of the deleted scene from the first film, which showed a young mother in the Puritan colony in 1637 of Derry when she allowed it, which was then a shape-shifting shadow, to devour her baby to spare the rest of the colony. This is essentially the whole threat of chapter 2. Even if the adults are no longer scared of the monster, they must reconfront their fears in order to save future generations. Moving on.
For 27 years, I dreamt of you. I craved you. I've missed you.
Okay, there's a lot going on in this clip. The adult losers return from the well house on Neibolt Street after having already faced it. Notice Eddie has a wound on his cheek and Mike has a bandaged wrist. And a big reveal here. Again, spoiler alert. A red balloon floats past this criminal psychiatric institution where the adult Henry Bowers sees it.
Yes, Henry does survive falling down the well in the first chapter, and in the novel, he takes the fall for all of Pennywise's murders in that generation, remaining under the trance and allowing the town to ignore the real conspiracy. Now there's also a shot of the losers in the Neibolt house seeing the fridge shake, the same fridge that Pennywise contorted himself in to fit inside. An extended cut of this scene was shown at Comic-Con featuring a severed head with spider legs extending out. Richie says, "You gotta be kidding." It's meant as an homage to the scene in John Carpenter's The Thing.
You gotta be kidding.
Pennywise talks about how he dreamt of, missed, and craved the losers, which is like pretty creepy.
Coming on a bit strong.
Yeah, meaning that them defeating him as kids just made him have a grudge for a super long time, and now he's awake and gonna act it out. There's a shot of young Bev floating under the spell of the deadlights, which in the book are supposed to kill anyone who sees them. The fact that Bev survived could mean Pennywise's attack marked her with a lasting scar.
Yeah.
And we return to the 3 doors of the Neibolt house. Very scary, scary, and not scary at all, which I don't trust those labels.
Yeah.
Not a little bit.
None of them are gonna be scary.
None of them sound good. Which led to specific scares for the kids in chapter 1. We'll see how those scares evolve for chapter 2. On to the next clip.
We need to finish it. For good.
I've seen all of us die. It consumes us from the inside until we don't have a choice anymore.
Okay, here the losers explore its subterranean cavern lair with these sharp formations in them. This could be pieces of like a husk or maybe a cocoon for its massive final form from the book and miniseries, which I don't think either of us are that eager to see.
Yes and no, kind of a scary yes and no thing. Then there are some shots of scenes we saw in the last trailer. Richie seeing Pennywise float past Derry's Paul Bunyan statue and Beverly visiting Mrs. Kirsch that no one wants to ever go back to see. Notice how Mrs. Kirsch keeps her frozen, inhuman smile as Bev passes through the doorway. Someone should tell Pennywise that smiles are only supposed to last like a half second tops. Anything longer is serial killer long.
Is this too long?
No, Eric.
No,
Eric.
It's too long?
Eric, no.
I'm a good guy. And before we move on, there's a shot of a bloody hand dripping from a tub. Now, this is most likely a major moment from the book. Again, we don't want to spoil it just yet, but no, it's gonna be something important. You'll know when you see it. Moving on.
You lied. And I died. You lied. And I died.
Okay, in this section, there's a quick shot of the loser scrambling deeper into the cavern. Now, this could be during the final battle, and notice how the framing here makes the opening here look like an eye hole, almost like the losers are plunging deeper into the deadlights. Pretty cool.
Another shot shows Bill revisiting the flooded basement scene of chapter 1, with his younger self behind him and Georgie and Pennywise in the corner. Georgie's voice taunts, "You lied and I died." This reflects the survivor's guilt that plagues Bill as he struggles to overcome his shame, covering up the real thing that killed his brother.
Yeah.
Then we see Beverly revisiting one of her painful memories from chapter 1 in the bathroom stall. She just cannot escape.
Oh, yeah.
Just blood showers all the time. Notice the graffiti, "Hate Clown," with some shit talk about other girls named Bridget and Greta, who honestly could be guilty of nothing at all, and they're just an innocent victim in this graffiti
it's
crime.
often the case, yeah.
This could mean that other kids in Derry have spotted a clown around the town and are creating pages in their burn book about him.
Yeah, probably. And this bathroom fills with blood, with adult Bev reliving the bloody bathroom moment of chapter 1. There's a shot of two hands reaching out to each other, perhaps to reflect adult Bev reaching out to save her younger self, and the adult is trying to recover from the trauma she experienced as a child. Now, Jessica Chastain said that originally the director was only going to have the blood go up to her neck, but Chastain said, no, let's make this Carrie on steroids. And then Bev shatters a mirror where in the reflection you can see what looks like Ben in Pennywise's clutches as Mike struggles to free him. And now I say Ben because if you can look past that washboard, good luck. There looks to be some scarring, which Pennywise might have done as a callback to Henry Bauer's tummy cuts.
Can we just take a moment to reflect on the abs for a minute, because they're there and we don't want to pass them
They're there,
by.
yeah, not that missable with the detail.
Maybe Bev is smashing the mirror because they can't see Pennywise in real life, only in the mirror. And by shattering the illusion of him, they break free of the fear that he has them under. Because it's the fear that Pennywise represents that's the real threat.
Oh, someone should make a famous quote about fear itself.
One day.
One day. Moving on to the last section.
Okay, here there's some shots of adult losers united and Bev underwater as some Gollum-looking corpse attacks her. The losers run in fear as the rock formation in the cavern dematerializes around them. And Mike looks up as Pennywise pops out of an air vent on the wall. This looks like the ruins of the Black Spot, the dance club that was burned down in a past Pennywise attack.
And we see a shot of someone rising up a well shaft toward the light. Now I'm wondering if this could be a reversed shot of the moment Mike pushed Henry Bowers down the well shaft in chapter 1. And maybe this rise represents Pennywise resurrecting him to have someone take the fall for him. There's also a very quick shot of Mike screaming in the sweaty, trippy tent shelter. Now, if you read the book, you'll know about the smoke hole sequence in which the losers construct a Vision Quest clubhouse thing to try to understand its cosmic origin. It's pretty bonkers, maybe a result of Stephen King's influences from the 80s, and we're very eager to see how It Chapter 2 will try to adapt King's very interesting mythology.
Then there's a shot of Pennywise burying us alive in a grave, shutting the hatch over us. Then the trailer's closing shot with Bill Skarsgård laughing in face paint, his forehead and cheeks ripped open in bloody scars matching his iconic red clown makeup. Skarsgård also does his unnerving eye trick where he can focus one eye forward and the other eye skewed to the side, just kind of floating.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, in the other trailer, Mrs. Kirsch told Bev that her father joined the circus as a clown. Now, that was just a story that Pennywise was telling Bev to try to mess with her, but maybe Pennywise is taking this human form in order to further taunt Bev, playing into this narrative as an insane man putting on clown makeup and scarring his own face. If you think about it, it's actually a bit similar to the Heath Ledger take on the Joker in The Dark Knight, remember? He actually specifically implied that he applied his own makeup with the detail of paint smeared on his fingers. In other under his fingernails. He was an unreliable narrator who invented his backstories that he actually gave himself his own facial scars.
What scene are you most and least looking forward to in It Chapter 2? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, thanks for joining me to help break down this trailer, Marina. This is great.
I'll break down anything.
Yeah, you made this a little less terrifying for me. Still pretty terrifying.
Only slightly.
Yep. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EA Voss.
And follow me on Twitter at Marina Mastros.
And subscribe to New Rockstars for breakdowns and theories about everything you love. Thank you for watching. And Marina, tell me exactly when my smile becomes too creepy.
Now.
Now? It's just, yeah, okay, yeah.